The following stories are inspired by documented paranormal encounters. Some locations and identities may have been changed to protect the people involved. These stories may be disturbing for younger audiences, and listener discretion is advised. This podcast is based on true events.
Hey y'all, I'm B, they, them.
I'm Brandon, he, him.
Hi, I'm Dalia, she, her.
And this podcast is based on true events.
Me and Dalia looked at each other like, which one's going first? I'll do
Lock
it.
in.
It was a
Lock
standoff.
in.
I pointed at him, okay? I let him go first.
I didn't
Yeah.
see the point, but that's okay.
I
I believe you, I just didn't see it.
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Oh, man.
Vibe check?
Vibe check, yeah.
How y'all feeling? What's
Silly. I'm feeling silly.
Silly.
up? Are you a silly little
Like,
goose?
a silly little
A
goose.
silly little goose?
Father, when can I go out and be on my own?
I have the whole world
to
to
see.
She started playing a compilation of was that Pauly Shore as Pinocchio?
I have no
That's who
idea.
it is. It's Pauly Shore as Pinocchio.
Is it actually?
I think it is.
I ain't got a fucking clue.
I don't
know.
Is that, is that the Jersey Shore?
No, that's
No.
different. That's
I know. See, I feel old. Who the fuck is Pauly Shore?
Oh, you know who Pauly Shore is. Hold on.
I do?
Pauly Shore, American actor. You know what? I didn't think he looked like that. What else is he in? Totally Pauly. What the fuck else? He's in a lot of shows that are just his name. Pauly Does Dallas. Pauly Shore's America. He was Married with Children.
What?
You know what? Maybe I don't know Pauly Shore as much as I thought I did. Because, like, I'm not seeing anything. He's a comedian, basically. But, I don't...
You got me wanting to look him up too.
Yeah, I don't understand. I did not... He almost looks like Richard Simmons a little bit. Which,
I know who he is.
You see what I mean by that? At
I don't
least?
think he voices him. The voice does not match the face if he does.
That doesn't matter. Hold on, wait. Pauly Shore Pinocchio, not Pauly Shore TV show. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, Pinocchio, a true story, voiced by Pauly Shore. Yeah,
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Tom Kenny was in it. John Heder was in it. Like, that's crazy. It looks like a movie that came out in, like, the early 2000s, not 2021.
Right.
Then why is it just not blowing up?
No, it did blow up when it first came out. I remember being on that side of TikTok where it was just that scene. I have the whole world to see, like, over and over again. I was like, this is insane.
Did you say early 2000s? TikTok wasn't a thing in the early 2000s.
No,
it
in
came out in
2021 when it came out.
Oh, for God's sakes. I am not hearing things
No,
correctly.
it came out in 2020.
Yeah.
I said it looks like a movie that came out in the early 2000s.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where that came from.
That's
Yeah.
the misconstrued. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
No, I do remember being on that side of TikTok as well. But
I'm also feeling good, like vibe check wise. Like, I'm fine. Like, again, I'm just vibing. It feels so nice out. Dalia, you said it looks like all day. It looks like it should be raining, and it's just not. It's one of those days. Like, man,
Gorgeous.
this weather makes me very excited to just for it to be fall already.
Mhm.
Like,
I am very much looking forward to getting home and smoking a joint on my back patio
fair,
with this nice ass weather.
right?
Mhm.
I can't wait. That's exactly what I'm looking forward to.
That does sound nice.
Yeah, we'll probably go out after you head out. We'll probably go out and just sit on the front porch.
We should make
Yeah.
some tea.
Ooh.
It's been a while since we've done
yeah.
I
that.
want to get some tea from Wendigo Tea, like
Yeah.
for real, because
We're going to keep talking about that till we get it.
yeah, no, for
As
real.
you should.
We have some things of tea, but a couple of our things of tea are for like sore throats or like upset stomachs and stuff. We have working tea. We need enjoyment tea.
Yes.
Yup.
Yes.
I have enjoyment tea at home.
I am
You?
I'm a big tea guy.
I am too.
Big tea guy. Tea or coffee for you though?
Well, no, I've actually gotten off coffee.
Really?
Believe it or not.
Okay.
As someone who used to literally drink 3 pots of coffee a day,
Oh, I didn't
I'm
know
off
that.
of coffee. I will occasionally get an iced coffee for
Congratulations.
enjoyment because I like it. I didn't say I'm off of caffeine,
No, caffeine's never. Going
but I'm
there
off
for
of
me,
coffee.
but
I am not drinking near as much caffeine as I used to.
Fair. That's fair.
My heart is thanking me.
Honey, you're probably more coffee than tea, aren't you? You
It
love your
depends. I do love my coffee.
Mhm.
And now I have a job where there is a coffee machine, a
Whoop
Keurig,
whoop.
and it's a fancy Keurig, and I can make my own iced coffee at work. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
But I also
But
like...
it's free, and that's what's
It's
important.
free,
Right.
and so it's better than me going to the gas station and getting
Yep.
an energy drink or
Yep.
pulling up to Big B Coffee. Shout out to Big B Coffee, my favorite
Love me some
coffee
Big B.
chain. They have really good muffins and bagels. If you have a Big B near you, you should check it out. But
My work also has like a Keurig, and we have like tea pods too, like
Mhm.
like English breakfast. So I'll have a mug of English breakfast at my desk every morning.
I thought
It's
about
very nice.
I thought about bringing a tea pod to work.
Yeah.
They do have tea bags, I guess, because we have those water things where you can get hot water, cold water.
It's a little more effort, but not really. You know, it's fine.
But I do prefer our teapot. I prefer the leaves and the steeping that way.
That's fair.
Because we have a glass teapot. It's really nice. But
Mhm.
I got a Keurig at work too.
Is that right? In your home
For
office.
those that don't know, I'm a stay-at-home parent.
amazing.
Vibe check for you, B.
It's chilling. Like I
Chilling.
said, I'm looking forward to that joint and that cool breeze on my back patio.
As we've
I'm
mentioned,
vibing.
we record these in batches. This is our last one of the day, and honestly, it feels really. It's not that I'm excited that recording's over. It's more just like how it went by so fast.
It's
almost.
fulfilling, too.
We did it.
Yeah,
We did it.
Yeah, it's
Hell
like
yeah.
we did it. Our first session.
Mhm.
No, because before this, me and Dalia actually had another podcast that was started by me and the mutual friend of ours, Michael. And Dalia was actually the third number 3 host on it. Because first it was our friend Tyler, my niece Jordan, and then Dalia once Jordan couldn't do it anymore.
I was a guest on that one.
You were a guest on that one early on.
Yep.
We
sure
did
was.
that. We did that podcast for years. It's called Kinda Creepy.
Yep. I got drunk and talked about my alcoholic mother.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
That was a long time ago.
Yes,
it
it
was on
was.
a bonus episode, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved doing that show. It was really fun. I loved the idea of it. But I will say I am noticeably less exhausted at the end of recording, like for this show, than I was for Kinda Creepy.
Yeah.
And that probably just has stuff to do with like we were in that tiny room and it would heat up a lot.
It's
and then,
the format, too. This
Yes.
format has a lot more...
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. Plus, with that format, we would record a little bit, probably too much, and then stop, watch it like a 30-minute episode of a show, and then do it again. Like it got
It was
tiring.
fun, though.
It was fun, but it got tiring. And this one is just like it feels like okay, yeah, we could just do this, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Knock it on out.
but yeah, speaking of just doing this, actually, I have another lead-in question. You know how like I had like the sleepwalking one yesterday. B, you have kids.
I do have children.
Do any of them have imaginary friends?
Oh, no.
Rylan does, yes.
Really?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Do you want me to bleep that name?
No, it's fine.
All right,
Don't worry
cool,
about it.
All right.
But Rylan does, yes. Rylan has an imaginary friend, my son.
Okay. So, crap, I blanked because I was like, okay, because in the first episode you were unsure.
Yeah.
And now it's like you've decided.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
cool,
fine.
Cool. All right, cool then. I will delete that note I made to myself earlier. But anyway, imaginary friends. Rylan does. I can imagine that being really creepy.
Remember Fake Dad from a previous
I remember
episode?
Fake Dad, all right.
Yeah, could have been an imaginary friend.
Well, I had an imaginary friend
I
growing
did
up
too, growing up, yeah.
And I, listen, I played with that friend in middle school and shit too. My imaginary friend was this teeny tiny little man. And
No.
he would sit on my shoulder throughout the day.
No, thank
And then when we would have lunch in the cafeteria, I would never let anybody sit next to me because that was his seat.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, not crazy, but
No,
insane.
It's crazy. I'm crazy.
So
I'm on plenty of medications. I'm crazy.
I also used to have an imaginary friend. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember this section of my life. My dad tells me very vividly about how I used to vehemently be like, no, there's actually a child next to me and he's with me on car rides and he's talking to me and like we're just chilling and hanging out playing Bionicles. And I would call him Harry Potter because apparently he had big round glasses. I don't remember any of this, which makes it scarier on my end. Because
Children's imagination is just amazing.
And then I also just kind of believe that children see shit too. So
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not taking away the fact that it could just be imagination a lot of the times. Also, you know, did you ever have an imaginary friend growing up?
Not that I recall.
No.
Nope. I guess I'm the odd one out here. But
Must be.
I guess I'm the weirdo.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't either.
Not as long as I'm still in the room, I wouldn't say that.
Right, me too. Right. Nah. You're good.
No, I wish I had something to add, but I do have a story today that is kind of in a similar theme. So,
all right. So, okay, we've matched up a little bit. That's
a little. Not
bit.
completely, but a little. But I'll go into that when it's my turn.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one. I know what you're talking about.
I'm sitting here trying to think, like, what's my story? Does my story match?
No.
I don't remember.
and they don't gotta, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
that'd be too much effort, honestly.
I already asked this. Did your kids ever have imaginary friends? I'm asking you, the audience. Do your kids have imaginary friends? Most parents agree that kids having imaginary friends are completely normal, and some would say even like really healthy. Obviously, a couple of us have had them growing up ourselves. But what do you do when something seemingly harmless turns malicious?
Oh, no.
As told by Paranormal Witness, the show Paranormal Witness, I present to you Emily. Baltimore, Maryland, 2008. After 3 failed pregnancies and basically giving up hope, Laurel and Brian Poremski. Sorry. Laurel and Brian Poremski are now celebrating the 5th birthday of their miracle child, Isabella. Isabella was a brilliant little girl who always excelled beyond the children around her in her age bracket. The Poremskis decided that it was finally time to buy themselves a house and get themselves out of their relatively small apartment. They were looking at one house, but after getting an inspection done on it, they found that it had a lot of structural damage that would have cost a lot of money to keep up maintenance on over the years to come. Been there. As they stood outside the house, wondering what to do, and knowing that there was no way they would ever be able to afford it, Laurel looked over to see an old man putting up a for sale sign on a house across the street. It may not have been the house of their dreams, but Laurel saw potential. After talking with the sellers, Brian found it odd that the current owners had only been living there for around a year. But the house was so cheap compared to what other houses were going for that they thought there was no way that they could pass up the opportunity and bought the house.
Yeah, that's when the housing market was crashing, wasn't it? 2008?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
You yoink up what you can.
Yeah. When getting the house ready to move in, they wanted to repaint the room that was meant to be Isabella's. The room had been painted this really deep and dark shade of red that had been a huge problem to paint over and would keep seeming to bleed through the paint.
Damn.
Oh,
Ugh.
Brian had to use nearly 5 coats of gray primer before the red would finally stay covered.
Damn.
When they moved in, Isabel, I think I've been saying Isabella. I just realized there's no A at the end of that. Isabel settled in really well, and the Poremski family seemed like one big happy family at first. Brian would soon notice how Isabel would wave bye-bye to the attic door. And while he did find it a little odd since there was nothing there, he wasn't really worried at this point. It wasn't long after that, Laurel would hear Isabel laughing and singing all by herself, and would assume that she had just been talking to her stuffed animals until Isabel started talking about her friend, Emily. Isabel would speak of Emily as if she was right there in front of them, and at the beginning, Laurel had found it fun. But then, the Poremski family would start noticing things happening around the house. Laurel was in the kitchen one day with Isabel, playing right nearby, when all of a sudden, Laurel heard a porcelain statue that she had placed on a shelf smash on the ground. The first words out of Isabel's mouth were, "Emily, that was bad. That was Mommy's." Laurel's first reaction, obviously, was to blame Isabel, but she could tell by her daughter's face that she had just saw something and it made the hair on her neck stand up. Isabel then told Laurel, "Emily doesn't like you, Mommy. Emily doesn't like you here." What do you even answer back to that?
Emily don't pay bills. That's too damn bad. That's exactly what my answer would be.
Well, after that, Laurel noticed that Isabel started to change a bit. Isabel would start spending longer and longer amounts of time alone in her room. Isabel would sing Mary Had a Little Lamb, a song that neither of her parents had taught her in a strange way. She would sing it in a strange way, a way that she hadn't sang anything else. When Laura would ask Isabel about where she had learned the song, Isabel would only respond with, "Mommy, I'm learning," but never said who she was learning from. Brian, definitely not the type of person to get scared, starts getting the feeling of being watched one night while brushing his teeth in the bathroom. He then felt a tug on his shirt and thought it must have been Isabel, but when he calls out, Isabel doesn't answer. All of a sudden, he sees what he describes as a shadow ricochet off of his bedroom door and shoot down the hallway. His first thought is that it must be from the car lights of a passerby coming through the window. But he's on the second floor, the shades are down. It wasn't a car.
The way you said that, the shadow ricocheting off the door.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining this black shadow fucking banging into the door and going, "Oh fuck."
Ping ponging.
Yep.
I understand the giggles.
Pinballing,
now,
I guess.
Sorry. So
No,
sorry.
you're fine. Now, while this creeps Brian out, he decides not to say anything about it as to not scare his wife. One night, Isabel comes running up to Laura with a horrifying look on her face. "Emily's mommy hurt her in the bathtub," she tells Laura. Where could Isabel... Now it says Isabella. Did I just... Alright. Where could Isabella possibly be getting these kind of ideas from? Laurel and Brian never let Isabella watch those kind of shows. So, I'm admitting to this. I apparently went back and forth. I said Isabel for a while, and that's why I'm so confused. We are going to go back to Isabella, so I'm sorry about this.
Yeah, fuck it, we ball.
Back to the story.
Remix.
So they never let her watch those kind of shows. Seeing the fear in her daughter's eyes, Laurel told Isabella in no uncertain terms that she was to say goodbye to this Emily character. Make her go away, please. What started out as a harmless imaginary friend had gone too far, and Laurel was starting to feel scared. Could Isabella had been making these things up? And if she had, should they be getting her some help for it?
Right.
Concerned, Laurel mentioned the imaginary friend to Isabella's pediatrician, who in turn tried to talk to Isabella about it to gently remind her that Emily wasn't real. But Isabella insisted that Emily was not pretend, that she was real. The pediatrician overall didn't seem too concerned, however, and assured Laurel that Isabella would grow out of it. Laurel felt a bit better about the situation, and the next day there was no mention of Emily by Isabella. After spending a blissful family day out at a nearby park, however, the Perimskis returned home to find around 20 of their framed family photos that had previously been hung all around the house, face down in a pile in the middle of their living room. Almost like something saying that it didn't want to see a happy family. None of the Perimskis can reason away how the pictures could have gotten like that while nobody was home. And even if they had been, Isabella would have been too small to reach any of them, so it couldn't have been her.
Right.
This actually scared Brian enough to where he wanted them to leave the house, but financially this was just impossible for them at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And things would soon get worse, as they often do. One night, Isabella came up to Brian telling him, "Daddy, the white face is in the window." When Isabella takes him to check it out, Brian actually does see a blur of a white face in a window before it vanishes. He checks it out, but saw no way that someone could have been looking into his second-story window. Brian is now fully convinced that their house has to be haunted. Soon after, the Perimskis send Isabella to her grandparents for a weekend with the hopes of redecorating her room while she's away. Laurel wanted it to be have a happier feeling to it with warmer and softer colors, and even themed a whole wall to The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I love that movie.
For a moment, the home felt good, and Laurel and Brian were so excited to show Isabella that they had her grandparent bring her by to get a look at it. Isabella and her grandmother, Judy, were in awe of the room. Judy left Isabella to check out her room, and not even a minute later, Laura walks in to find Isabella standing in the middle of a now completely trashed room.
Damn.
Sorry, my alarm went off. It's time for my heartburn medication. I'll get to that later.
Okay, Grandpa.
Every shelf, every toy, even the bed had been tossed around the room in a matter of more than a minute.
Damn.
Isabella swore that she hadn't done it, but Laurel, being in so much denial, couldn't bring herself to accept it despite the fear that was now in Isabella's eyes. Things were now getting so bad for Brian that he would be in bed at night constantly feeling eyes on him. He would worry about what he would wake up to, what was in the room, and what was going to happen next within the house. And that kind of constant worry can be really wearing on a person after a while. Brian was afraid it was driving him insane. One night, Judy was giving Isabel a bath when Isabel asked her, "Nana, can I tell you something? Emily told me that it's okay to go out the window and play. She said she would catch me." Judy, obviously horrified at this, told Isabella that under no circumstances is it ever okay to go out the window, and that Isabella would get herself hurt if she did, and maybe worse. Judy is now fully convinced that this Emily character is anything but imaginary. After hearing this from Judy, Brian nailed shut the windows in Isabella's room as an extra precaution. One day, while doing some things around the house, Laurel hears Isabella scream and the door of the basement slams shut. Isabella had never been allowed in the basement before and had never expressed any interest in going into the basement. But when Laurel spotted Isabella's discarded coloring book nearby, she assumed the worst. She opened the door to see her daughter lying at the floor of the basement staircase, but was relieved when she heard her voice. What Isabella said, however, was no relief. "Emily pulled me down the stairs." Despite feeling completely broken down, Laurel still feels determined to fight for her home. She decides she doesn't want to be scared away by the presence in her house, and she now admits that she has been causing everything. Sorry, I'm really around the bend today.
No, you're good.
The Poremskys invite a medium over to their house for an investigation. During the investigation, the medium goes into a trance where she starts slowly rocking back and forth before starting to softly sing, "Mary had a little lamb."
No thanks.
Then, abruptly, the medium's voice changes. The medium starts repeating the same phrase over and over, insisting that Laurel and Brian get the Bibles out.
Oh dear.
Get the Bibles out. Ugh.
Even after they think that they had taken all the Bibles out of the house, so they really did do that to the medium's insistence, the medium insists that he said there's another Bible. He says he won't speak with us until they're out of the house. This shocks Brian. My daughter's been talking to a little girl named Emily. Now, Brian fears that there's a man in his house preying on his daughter. After nearly tearing Isabella's room apart, they do end up finding a Bible that neither of them had known about, stashed in a pillowcase in Isabella's bed. Or on Isabella's bed. The medium would go on to inform Laura and Brian that, quote, "he hates you and he wants your daughter." That night, Isabella was in bed. Brian was in the living room on his own. He had lit a few candles and had been lighting a few more when one of the candles flew across the room. The red wax splattered across the wall, reminding Brian of blood. Meanwhile, Laurel is in her room on the phone with her mother. Her mother is pleading with her to get her family out of that house. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees a toy chest of Isabella's fly across the room and smash itself against the wall.
Damn.
Later, Laurel would awake with Brian's hands clasping tightly around her throat. By the look in his eyes, she knew immediately that this was not her husband. Laurel was able to get away and ran down the stairs straight out of her house. Was this thing inside her husband going to kill her? Would it come for Isabella next? After escaping out of the door and onto the street, she chanced to look back to find Brian was no longer chasing her. He stood in the doorway to the house looking absolutely confused. "Laurel?" he called out as he noticed his wife. "Laurel, what's wrong? Are you okay?" As she approached him, she could tell that her husband was back, and he was just as afraid as she was. Laurel says she remembers standing in the dining room and just yelling out, "You've won! It's yours!" She no longer cared about losing her home, as long as it meant leaving safely with her family. The very next morning, Brian called an aunt to come help him grab what they could and get out. Since moving, Brian and Laurel have experienced no paranormal activity. The new owners left quickly, saying that pictures kept falling off the wall.
Gotta go right now. Damn. That, again, when it gets physical, That's when it's time to say, fuck it, we're out of options. We gotta go.
Well, when that little girl was getting dragged down the stairs, that should have been it.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
yeah.
The moment they were like, as she was sleeping in her bedroom that night. Like, what do you mean as she was sleeping in her bedroom that night? Why is she
that
there
baby
still?
needs to at least go hang out with grandma.
Like, why is she
At the
still
very
there?
least. Send that baby to grandma's
Like,
house.
if you feel like you need to nail the window shut and fear for your children's life, it's done.
Send that baby to
you've
grandma's
lost.
house.
Like, no, like, it's such a like, me and Dalia being, like, into the paranormal and stuff, and, or I guess especially me.
Oh, my house is 1,000% haunted. So
Right.
Ops.
My work is haunted, but that's a story for another day. Thankfully, this house is fine, but we did have a conversation when we were looking for houses, like, hey, how haunted is too haunted for a house in this economy, really?
Yep.
And I think what we agreed on is, like, we could handle the occasional apparition and shit, but the moment it starts like, not even hurting us, but affecting our moods towards each other, we're done.
Yep.
Like, that's, like, because us as our relationship's just way too important, you know?
So, the spirit that's in my house, I don't know what it is that's in my house.
Right.
Okay. But it will randomly start slamming cabinets.
Love that.
And I'll be sitting at my desk when it happens, and I whip around, and I yell some bullshit like, you don't pay bills, quit slamming my fucking cabinets.
Right.
And it stops. Every time.
Like, oh shit, you right.
So whatever it is, it ain't malicious. I don't think so. It's just having fun. Quit slamming my fucking cabinets. Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe it's just saying, hey.
You're
Hey,
right.
Mom.
Right.
Fine, Mom.
Hey,
Like,
how are you?
No, I know there's a couple different times that story alone gave me chills, despite my mush
Yeah.
mouth during it, you know?
Yeah. Like, I'm sitting here trying to think, how would I act if one of my children came to me and said what she said?
I think for me,
My mom.
the fact that the previous owners moved out within a year is enough of a red flag for me to say no.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Had my mom been the parent in that situation and I was the child, the second I mentioned the window to
yeah,
grandma,
that's too much.
or the second my kids mentioned window to my mom, she would have snatched them kids out of my... Because my mom is extremely superstitious.
Yeah.
She would have snatched my kids so quick out of my house and told me, fix it, and then left.
Fix it. Yeah. That being said, I get the situation of, like, not having the money to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if this house were haunted, we wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
No.
We'd just be like, all right, I guess we're dealing with this now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because we just, it's a crazy situation. Until buying a home, I never really thought much about just telling people in documentary stories or paranormal stories to be like, just get out, you know?
Right.
But sometimes you just can't.
It ain't
And
that easy.
it's such a fucked situation.
Yep.
Because you're scared for your children, your family, and, like, but you can't do anything really.
Yep.
A lot of times.
Your ass out.
No, yeah. That's a freaky one if I do say so myself.
That's a good story, though.
Yeah.
So what did you say that was from? Is that somewhere I can watch it?
Paranormal Witness. It's actually the very first episode of Paranormal Witness.
Paranormal Witness.
I
Okay.
believe that story was paired with the story I did of Don't Stop the Car. So if you want to
Gotcha.
see those, I think this is the first episode of season 1 of Paranormal Witness.
Perfect.
So
You got some pictures?
I do got some pictures. Would you guys like to see them?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
No, actually.
No, you don't
Keep
get
that shit to
them.
yourself.
So sorry.
Actually.
Go fuck yourself.
I changed my mind. Okay, so this first one I found is this is how the show depicted that white face in the window that the father caught a glimpse of.
Pause.
I don't like that.
Pause. When I was 10, 11, 12 years old, one of those three ages, somewhere around there,
Yeah.
this apartment that we lived in, I had one day where I was home alone, and I don't know what happened. It could have been a shadow. It could have been the light reflection. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming from my mom's room into the living room, and I have to pass through the kitchen to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that, I see a face in my oven that looks just like that.
No, thank you.
And I freaked the fuck out.
As one would, of course.
And I tried, like, I remember coming back in front of the oven, and I stood there for
Like,
45
let's
minutes in the
figure this out.
kitchen trying to like recreate the way I was walking through there or something to try to figure out, was it the way my pants looked in the reflection? Like, but
Right.
I could not recreate it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that ever happened in that apartment again. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just weird.
No, that's
Freaky.
Yeah.
not a fun situation.
So sorry to interrupt, but the second I seen that, I'm like, wait.
No, yeah, it's definitely not a fun image. Yeah.
It was that kind of like bluish white too,
Mhm.
like this is, and
Yeah.
that's so sorry to derail you, but
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. This next one is a photo that's been going. I've seen this photo around forever, but it's just this is a depiction when I looked up creepy imaginary friend. For those who aren't seeing the picture right now, it's this young girl. It's all in black and white. It's this young girl on like the side of like a riverbank, basically. She has her hand held out as if she's holding someone's hand. And while there's no one else there, in the reflection, there is somebody else there.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where that photo originates from. I know I've seen it for years upon years, though. But yeah, that is mine today.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you got anything, feel free to jump into yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you
That was
got
that
for
was
us?
really interesting.
How many you
story.
got for
was
us
really
today?
interesting. Well, hold on one second.
All right.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't, if there was any kind of noise or anything when I moved the microphone, I wanted to account for that.
The little gremlin inside of me, when you said that, wanted to grab this and start shaking it so bad.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No, we respect the equipment, B.
Yes.
So sorry. Please continue.
That's okay. Okay. I have two stories, or two allegedly true encounters today. And this allegedly true encounter was posted on
Reddit.
Reddit. So let's get into
I would
it.
have died if you would have been like, wrong, 4chan.
Of all places, too.
No, I'm going to start
Fiora.
looking on 4chan. I'm going to
Wrong,
start looking.
4chan.
If you got any 4chan stories, send it to us. TPIBOTE@outlook.com. Anyway. So let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
This encounter is titled My Crying Child.
No.
Nope.
No,
No.
thank you.
No. No.
Podcast.
Dahlia, I have children. You gotta stop giving me scary stories
We
that
just
involve
had an
kids.
imaginary child one, and then we immediately go into a crying
Oh my
child one.
god.
And I know your other story. It's not. This was a really themed episode.
Yes, and I'm here for it.
All right.
Please continue.
Crying
All right.
child. Let's do
Are
it.
you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have a choice.
Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball.
Back in 2019, my son and I joined my parents on a trip to Cornville, Arizona. Cornville is an unincorporated community about 20 minutes west of Sedona, basically bordering... What's up?
Cornville?
Yeah.
Is that a real fucking town?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Dahlia. I'm gonna Google Cornville.
Google Cornville.
Cornville, Arizona.
Yep, Cornville, Arizona.
No
There's
fucking
also,
way.
Which state is ME?
ME? That is Massachusetts.
There's also a Cornville,
Is it?
Massachusetts.
Is
then.
it?
ME, I think, is Maine.
Is it? It might be. You might be right.
I thought. Well,
You remember earlier?
yeah, it's Maine. You're right.
You remember earlier when I said I suffer from dumb bitchitis?
That's not dumb bitchitis. I only know that because I had a job where I had to learn that kind of
I
shit.
literally just asked you, hey, what state is the ME? Like, I don't remember.
My brain
but
went
I said
Mexico.
the wrong state.
Confidently,
So
too.
wait, what's Massachusetts?
Massachusetts would be MA, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Or is it?
Either way, there's a Cornville, Maine, and a Cornville, Arizona, which is insane.
Are we ready? For
I'm
this?
ready, yes.
It is MA. Sorry. Sorry to derail Cornville just to... anyways.
No,
Dahlia,
I
please.
had to know that stuff for a previous job, so I still have a lot of that knowledge. Anyway, so yes, they're going to a trip to Cornville, and it's 20 minutes west of Sedona, basically bordering. I have no idea how to say this. I'm gonna butcher it. The Coconino National Forest.
Coconino?
Coconino.
Could it be that?
Probably
Coconino.
something like that.
That sounds like a tropical bird.
I do know
It does. For some.
Sorry.
It's okay. For some more context, we were staying at an Airbnb that backed up to a huge rocky valley. I mean, nothing for miles. It was pitch black at night, and there were only 2 other homes on the street, and we were at the end. My son also has autism. He was nonverbal and 2 years old at the time. He has a very distinct wail, at least to me as his mom. He also needed a close eye kept on him because he would try to Harry Houdini out of the house. My son was sleeping in a cot in my parents' room. Do you have a comment?
Not only are you giving me a scary story about crying children, but you're giving me a scary story about an autistic child. I have an autistic child.
I'm sorry. I didn't write the
specific.
story.
Very B-specific episode
Right.
today.
I don't. Did the mic pick you up when you? Because you were all
Yeah,
in
you're
here.
fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
loud. It should.
Okay, cool.
It should.
I get nervous.
I'll normalize everything. It should be fine.
Cool. Anyway, so. Okay, he tries to Harry Houdini out of the house. My son was sleeping in a cot in my parents' room, which had a sliding lockable glass door to the backyard in it. I was in the room next to them, but it faced the front of the house. Once everyone went to bed, I would stay up and talk to my now husband on the phone and do some art. Sorry, the ink is fading here. One night, I remember just feeling absolutely freaked out and paranoid in the living area, which had multiple huge bay windows to the backyard. I felt like there were things outside of my view, lurking in the dark. They could see me, but I couldn't see them. I tried my best not to think about it though, and decided to just go to bed because I must have just smoked too much and was freaking myself out.
Mood.
I remember not being able to sleep. I just kept laying there, scared to breathe, scared to close my eyes. I felt like if I closed my eyes, whatever it was would get me. I was too afraid to move, to draw attention to myself. As I was laying there from outside of the window, I heard my son start crying and wailing. And I knew my son. That was my son's cry. Outside of the window, in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, with dangerous terrain surrounding us. I immediately jumped out of bed, ran to where my parents were sleeping to wake them up to help me, to yell at them for not keeping the door locked. I flung the door open in a panic and saw my son, fast asleep in his cot.
Nope.
I woke my mom up and asked if he had been crying. He hadn't. He was sound asleep and didn't make a peep for the last couple of hours. I didn't speak about what happened, just apologized and made sure the door was locked. I told her I must have just dreamt it. I know I didn't. My mom woke up in the morning and found me asleep on the floor of the closet with all of the lights on and the door barricaded shut. Yeah. I still don't like thinking about it. I've never told that story out loud. I don't acknowledge it for the most part. I refuse to say any type of name after that. I don't listen to any content about it. I try to mind my business. Sometimes while I'm outside at night in my own backyard, way out in southeast Wisconsin, let me move this here, I get sudden chills and a panic tells me not to move fast, not to act scared, and to get the hell back in the house and lock the doors. I refuse to go back to northern Arizona. I will never ever go back there. I have no idea what was outside that window and I never want to know. So this Redditor actually posted replies, a reply to somebody else with a picture of how this area looked. I'm going to go ahead and send that now.
Okay.
So that way you guys know what's going on. But any thoughts while I get that?
So I've had a similar experience where I woke up because I heard what I thought was Cassie. I thought she was screaming. And when I went to go check on her, her and Nazara were both out. And I checked the baby camera and I rewound the footage and there was nothing. And I still don't know.
I think you told me about that when it happened.
Yeah.
Like,
That's freaky.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Okay, so I'm gonna send a picture. I put Dombey, our mascot, over their faces.
Okay.
But this,
Love Dombey.
yeah, this is what it looked like outside the Airbnb. That's what could be seen outside the window.
Especially that at night.
Nothing for miles. So
Especially that at night.
I don't know what's worse, that or a dense forest. both of those
Both
options
are not
seem
good.
terrifying.
I think, I don't know, because there's part of me that's like, at least with this one, there's like no people around for miles. I mean, I guess that's not even guaranteed.
No,
but like,
right.
either way, I'm not a fan. It's not.
Because like in the forest, like I understand, like things can hide.
That's fair, yeah.
But when you're in the desert, it's so. The desert never stops. It keeps going forever and ever and ever. It feels like. Where the fuck are these creatures hiding?
No, for real.
Because they're there. But where the hell are they coming from? And that feels more scary to me.
Yeah.
Them coming out of buttfuck nowhere versus coming out of the woods.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna fuck with either of those locations.
No, I'm not.
Cool.
I mean, you heard this poster. They won't say what they would be called because for fear. I mean, they must be a really superstitious person.
Right.
Yeah. I don't like saying that word either for that same reason.
It's creepy.
Yes.
I've said it. I think I've said it a couple times on this podcast, but
yeah.
Right.
To each his own.
I think if it's necessary to explain something, but I don't just go throwing it around.
No.
Like, it's the same reason I don't, like, whistle at night or shit like that. Like, some things I'm just not willing to, like, whether they're my specific, like, tradition or not, some things I'm just not willing to test, you know?
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly.
I think a good way we can just say mimic right now.
Sure.
We'll just call it that because it's the same thing.
Scary desert mimic.
Scary desert mimic. Mimic makes me think of D&D, but apparently that's like a common use word in paranormal as well.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't realize that because I thought it was just the other word, but yeah. So that is my first story. Do we have any other thoughts?
Ooh.
I think you got them all out of me.
See, I just, like, obviously you do, but I can't imagine the fear of hearing your child screaming in the first place, but then compound by, like, we don't know what that was. That actually wasn't it. Like, I don't know. Like,
I totally get what she said too. As a mother, you know your child's scream,
right?
In comparison to other kids, you know when it's your child. And that night when I heard that was most definitely Cassie. But
that's freaky. I don't like that.
No,
I don't like that one bit. And the fact that you could relate so hard to this was actually really creepy.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, damn,
my
Dalia.
bad. My bad. Yeah, that is the story of my crying child. Are we ready for the next one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please and thank you.
Well,
right.
So I have an entry for this one, actually. For this allegedly true encounter, we have our very first listener story, which we are extremely excited about. Now, typically when this happens, I will name the listener who sent it, unless they choose to remain anonymous. But because this is someone we know personally, I'm going to keep their name a secret until the end, just for B.
Okay.
A person we know personally.
All of us.
We
all of us know personally.
Oh.
Collectively, yes.
Okay. All right.
So, this listener has sent us separate encounters with the same entity, and they preface this with some background information. The listener states, okay, first of all, let's get into it. This listener states, hey, so I just wanted to preface this with I'm a sensitive and have been for as long as I can remember. I have seen and felt entities before, but this is the most prominent one I can remember. This story is more of a mix of multiple small incidents that I can remember after all these years. I call this series of encounters, and this is me talking, not the listener, him. I was roughly 7 to 9 years old when this happened. For context of this story, I have to explain how my childhood bedroom was set up. My bed was a bunk bed, but instead of it being a normal twin on top of twin kind, the lower bunk was a separate bed that actually kicked out away from the wall instead of lining up parallel with the wall like my upper bunk was. The legs of the bed were more like big blocks, one having dresser drawers on the end and bookshelves on the inside. The other was solid on the inside wall, but a full desk on the outside wall. So they said they have a little note here, and they said, not super important, but I'm just trying to help set the scene for you. Okay. The bunk bed was on the opposite wall facing the bedroom door, so when I was laying down, I was either facing the door or the wall. The TV was next to the door as well. Outside the door was the hallway that led down to the living room. So the story begins with my first incident and most prominent memory of this spirit/entity. I was laying in bed watching TV to go to sleep, everything feeling completely normal. All of a sudden, I hear a slight tapping on the closed bedroom door, the tapping moving slowly up and down the door. At first, I was thinking it was my little sister just messing with me, so I hollered for her to go away and go to bed. The tapping stops for a few seconds before starting again, this time traveling all the way from the bottom to the top of the door. Something she wouldn't be able to do at the time, since she wouldn't be able to reach that high. I keep an eye on that door and listen as it does it for a few more minutes before stopping again. I sit up slightly as the door handle slowly starts to turn and the door opens about 3 to 4 inches. As soon as the door opened, I could physically feel the energy of the room change. It felt heavy on my skin, almost feeling damp in a way. I continued to stare at the door, frozen at this point, and all the hair on my body stands on end. Looking through the crack of the door, I can make out a figure standing there, taking up the entire door frame, the head tilted slightly to be able to stare back at me. The face was solid black except for the eyes that were glossy enough to reflect the light coming from the TV that lit up the room. Obviously terrified, I tell it to go away again, but instead of doing that, its hand reaches through the crack of the door behind the TV and unplugs it quickly, making the room go pitch black.
Fucking excuse me?
I scream and hide under the covers, praying that my mom or dad will come to me, but alas, neither do, since they are sound asleep across the hall with their door closed. I eventually go to sleep under the blanket, and end up having my first and only sleep paralysis dream ever. Not your normal can't move while a demon or something is coming after you, but it was nothing but absolute white light everywhere. I couldn't move, and I couldn't make myself wake up. Very weird experience. Second memory. It's very faint, but I do remember hiding under my desk in my room, trying to be absolutely silent until my mom came to find me. She asks me why I haven't answered her or came to her when she called for me, and my only response was, "I'm hiding. He told me I'd be in trouble if he finds me." And then there's a little note here. For context, I only remember this entity as him. That's what it wanted me to call it. I don't know why, but that's what I can remember. Third memory. Involves these little porcelain clown dolls that sat on a shelf in my bedroom. I had no idea where said box came from, but I didn't touch it because they were delicate, and I assumed my parents put them in there for a reason. As the weeks went on, I'd noticed that one clown would disappear at a time until the box was almost empty. After coming home from school, there's a little note here, I was home alone for an hour or two after school most days because my parents would be at work and my sister would be at daycare. I walked in the living room, kicked off my shoes, and put my bag down before going to the kitchen for a snack. Within the few seconds I was in the kitchen and came back to the living room, all of the missing clown dolls sat on the floor in a semicircle facing me as I walked back in.
What the fuck?
I stood, staring at the dolls before turning slowly to look down the hallway behind me, only to see him peeking at me from my bedroom doorway before slowly pulling himself back into the room with a low but clearly heard deep laugh. I quickly ran outside and got on my bike to pedal to my sister's babysitter's house to stay there. It was in the same neighborhood, so it wasn't fair. So I guess the babysitter was sort of like a daycare at the same time.
It wasn't far, you mean?
Wasn't far.
Okay.
Far, sorry.
You're okay.
By the time I got home, the dolls were all back in their box on the shelf in my bedroom, neatly lined up like nothing had happened. I threw the whole box in the trash and luckily never saw them again.
Jesus.
Are you ready for the reveal of who this is?
Can I guess?
Don't. Well, yeah, you can guess. Don't say it. I have something lined up.
All right.
All right. Is it Jordan?
So this listener was actually Jordan.
I'm sitting here like, who do I know that has a younger sister?
Jordan is my niece, my
Yep.
oldest niece. I grew up with her. So the whole like being a sensitive thing actually runs in our family and is something that I've dealt with a good majority of my life to varying degrees.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've plenty of stories around that I can like tell at a later date.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, what else do you have to say? You said.
So she was actually super sweet. This is about the pictures.
Oh, okay.
And drew photos as references for us. So remember the bed description?
Yeah.
We got a room layout and a bed drawn here that she drew for us.
Yeah, I remember this. I absolutely remember. So,
oh, wow.
This is my sister's house that like Jordan and her sister Jaden grew up in. I vividly remember this bed. I can picture every single thing. Oh, it is yeah. I didn't know she was doing with all this. I think I was like I might have been with my dad at this point. And so this I might not have been.
She could have also just not talked about it because it was so scary.
That's also very fair, yeah.
And she drew a second picture too. This is actually what she saw in her doorway in that first story.
Damn.
I'm not a fan of that.
That would have me shitting my pants. Shitting my britches.
So I don't know how else better to describe this. Jordan described it really well in her story.
Very vivid.
But I was gonna try and describe it for the listeners, but honestly, her description in this picture, really good. Very, very talented. So
it almost looks like a spider.
It almost does until
yeah.
you realize like it's at an angle, I guess.
That's
and it's creepy hands or
no, I don't like that.
Yes, it's very, very creepy, very
I'm not
weird.
a fan of especially the angle that it is at. That feels so purposeful.
Yes, because what the fuck are you doing up there?
The unplugging of the TV.
The unplugging of the TV got. Absolutely not.
That's insane.
That feels so deliberate. And like it's too bright for me. But
I have like chills going down my arms thinking about that. Like that's.
And it's so.
You can see the goosebumps on my legs.
It's a lot closer to home knowing that somebody we're so close. All of us are so close to.
Right.
Like,
that's your family.
Yeah.
Like that's. Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah. It's.
Remind me to thank her later for sharing that because that's fucking trippy.
But yeah, so Jordan is my niece for the listeners here. We grew up together. We're only a couple years apart. We're closer than like me and my actual sisters are. You'll know Jordan after a while. She wants to be a guest on here eventually, which I think
it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm excited to have her on. She also if we do have plans, this may be like high aspirations, but we do have plans to like do like merch lines in the future. And Jordan and Dalia both are really good artists, so both of them will be providing art for us. And hey Jordan, I know you're listening. How are you doing?
Hi, I love you. I miss you. Give your baby kisses for me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sup, J-Dog?
But yeah, so yeah, you'll get acquainted with her in future like merch art things, which I'm excited about.
Oh yeah. Hyped.
Hell yeah.
Hyped.
Well, but yeah, damn.
That was a terrifying fucking story. Are we ready for something sweet?
I can't get the image of the TV unplugging out of my head. That's gonna haunt me for a bit. And especially
imagine how she feels.
Well, yeah, but especially since like out of the three of us, I've been in that room.
Yes.
I used to have sleepovers in that room. I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I thought the porcelain doll one was gonna get you more. Because you have a thing for
I don't like dolls.
Against
I do
porcelain
not like
dolls.
but I do know the doll she's talking about. I'm very sure I know what those dolls... Like, I've seen those dolls before.
Oh, I love a good creepy doll. It's like one of my favorite things.
Oh, we know. We know. You fucking make them.
I used to... Yeah, I gotta get back into that. But yeah, I used to make some creepy dolls.
Pretty sick.
Goes hand in hand with my name, which is pretty fucking cool.
Pretty sick.
Not to toot my own horn, but...
My name's Bee because I like bees.
My name is Brandon because my parents liked the movie The Crow.
My daughter's named after Cassie Cage from Mortal Kombat,
that's
yeah.
great,
you know.
actually. I love
Fuck
that.
yes.
Her middle name, she's named after me, but her
Right.
first name, she was definitely named after Cassie Cage.
I am so ready for something to hear something a little sweeter. What do you got
Palate
for us today?
cleanser.
Okay, so for this story, I'm actually going to send you the picture first.
Oh.
And that's because of the title of the story.
This is unprecedented. Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So if you're watching the YouTube, this will pop
Yep.
up right around here, I guess.
So the title of this story
I can only imagine.
is Panda Express Made Me Cry.
Oh.
And it was fairly recent. It was posted 4 days ago when I took when I found the story, and I found it on Friday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Panda Express should be on the screen right now, and it should be going away now.
Panda Express made me cry.
All right.
The school year is coming to an end, and I'm completely exhausted. To add to that, my kids got sick and have been passing it around. My youngest is having a hard time eating, and all they wanted was Panda Express doodles. It was late, I'm tired, but if it'll make her feel better, then why not? I attempted to order on the app first, and it kept saying that it couldn't be delivered to me or there was a payment issue, and I was so frustrated. I didn't want to make the drive, but finally decided to suck it up and go. I get there, and they're pretty busy for a Sunday night. I give them my order, 5 large chow mein, a 2-item combo, and 2 large meats. The employees stopped me and told me that a family dinner would save me money and give me the same amount of chow mein. When the manager saw what she was doing, she stopped her and said it would be more beneficial to do a tray of chow and then a family meal. I got the whole tray. They substituted the 1 chow mein in the family meal for another meat, and I still got my 2 dinner combo. I went to pay, and not only did I get more food, but it was $30 cheaper.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I thanked all of them profusely. I told the manager that my kids were sick and all they wanted was the chow mein. She smiled, said she understood, and was glad she could help. When I got home, I realized she put 2 extra sides of chow mein for me and about 30 cookies. Sometimes I feel so lost, like I'm drowning in parenthood, and her small act of kindness meant so much to me. I'm teary-eyed even typing this out. I can't remember names, but I wrote corporate to tell them how incredible that store is. I hope it helps them in some way, or it just makes their day like they made mine. Thank you, kind stranger.
That's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so nice.
So I also have a little sweet story about Panda Express.
Really?
Okay. I love Panda Express, first of all. So I used to work at, am I allowed to say that I worked at Kroger? Or should I just say
No, you're
local
fine with
grocery
that. You
store?
don't work at Kroger now.
Yeah.
No one's gonna find the Kroger you worked at like however many years ago and be like, he was here. He was here. I know it.
I used to work at Kroger, which is a local grocery chain over here. And right next to Kroger, there was a Panda Express. And at the time, with all of the food options that were around me and the food options that were at home, Panda Express was all I could afford.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where I was over there so often that every time I would walk in, they would have my order ready for me to go.
Hell yeah.
And so I didn't have to spend so much of my lunch sitting there because I only got 30 minutes. I was 16. And I spent so much time waiting in line for my order and shit like that because it was around the lunch rush. But they eventually just started having it ready for me. So I could just walk over there, get it, pick it up, and go back and
nice.
eat.
That's so nice.
I've tried to like Panda Express's food. I've tried really, really hard.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I think it feels too sweet for me. I hate to be the one. No, but
your fast food Chinese food is too sweet.
No, it's fine. Like even every once in a while, I'll still be like, I could try Panda Express again. Mm-hmm. But like
they just put one in by me where I live, and I have definitely been eating there quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't eaten at Panda Express, I don't think, since... I don't think I've had it with you.
No,
I think I haven't had it since I was at Kings Island in high school.
It's like my favorite fast food place.
So
it's Panda Express.
I'd like to try it again.
Yeah,
but
I do. I think it's more. There's a couple things where I'm like, I know how this should taste. Well, at least how I've had it, and it's like this isn't how it tastes. It's not that it's bad.
Yeah,
I'm happy that
But see,
for people who like it.
I'm also stupid simple. I
That's
just
fair.
get a plate with white rice and double orange chicken.
I'm also
what I
not
get.
trying to be pompous. Like, oh, it's too sweet. I eat fucking chocolate like it's
Right.
like I'm
That's funny as shit.
not exactly the healthiest eater in the bunch, but
Oh, trust me, I ain't want to talk.
I got one belly. I'm gonna use these taste buds.
That's what I'm saying. Listen,
I paid for all the taste buds. I'm using all the taste
listen,
buds.
when it's time for me to go, I want them to cut me open and the whole room smell like cheese fries. I'm just saying.
I ain't worried about dying fat. That's my pallbearer's worry.
Well, right, exactly. I'm gonna be cremated. It don't matter.
I'm a foodie. I think about food a lot.
Food's so good.
Yeah,
I
food
think
is
about
great.
food a lot because if there's one thing that you can look forward to
Yep.
day to day, it's tasting something good.
Especially nowadays, like it feels like we're getting less and less that we're able to actually enjoy. I'm gonna eat, man. Like,
That makes me think of the movie Soul. Have you guys seen that?
Not
I
yet. I want
haven't,
to.
but
I have
yeah.
not seen it yet. I heard good things though.
I've only heard good things
Then I'm
about
not going to say what I was going to say because it'll spoil it for you.
Yeah, don't
But
do that.
anyone who has seen Soul knows why that conversation reminds me of that movie.
Okay.
And you'll connect the dots too when you watch
Fair
it.
enough.
Cool.
Fair enough.
It really
Sounds
is
good.
such a cute ass movie.
Ugh.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
that was a nice ending after like an entire Attack B episode.
Yeah, literally. What the fuck?
He's gonna go
My bad.
hug their kids. Like, hey, we straight, man. Come on.
Right.
It's all
You're all right with me. Come
You're
here,
all
buddy.
right with me. Well, thank you guys for listening today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, check out our links in the show notes. Show nuts? In the show
Show
notes.
nuts. Show
It'll be
nuts.
under-
your nuts.
It'll be the link for beacons.ai. It'll take you to a link with all our other links for our podcast and for us individually as well. And then if you have any like creepy paranormal stories or really wholesome fun time stories that you want us to read on here, send them into TPIBOTE@outlook.com. Which one of you? I did it last week. Which one of you wanna out us today?
Is it my turn?
Don't matter to
I
me
think it
now.
might be.
Oh shit.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
guys. You guessed it. This podcast was based on true events.